showtime. Woo, woo. Woo, 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 woo. Silent and profiling. Woo, it's live and in color. Woo!
Welcome to the Mafia Sports Report on the Buffalo Fambase Network. I'm your host, Tommy, to the highest degree, to the T.O.P. from the 313. And by my side is my main man, my toucan Sam, my can of spam, the one they call the Apex Man, Mr. Mikey. What's going on, brother?
Happy Monday, brother. Well, I'm
man.
excited. We're doing 50 to 31 tonight. So we're starting to count down into the top Bills players of all time. It's gonna be a fun show.
Damn real. And are you guys, man? Listen, Mikey, we're getting down to the nitty gritty, man. Tonight, 50 to 31. This has been a lot of work, but a lot of fun at the same time, man. So I appreciate everyone that's been watching. I appreciate you guys that's been watching after that couldn't watch the live. And we're going to go through a recap real quick of last week. The top, 75 through 51. We'll put that on the list real quick.
And before we get into that, we report the training camp later this week.
Yes, we do.
Training camp is coming. Mikey. Training camp is coming. Football is coming, Tommy.
Shame on Scott right here. You thinking we're at the top? Clearly, you have not been watching. Scott, are we there yet? We're almost there. We're 2 episodes away, Scott. So keep watching, and we'll get there.
Yes, we'll get there. Anyways, let's hit the recap from last week. So coming in at 75, we had Butch Bird, the ball hawk. 74, Dion Dawkins, our franchise left tackle. 73 was Willis McGahee, who was an underrated Bill. I really think, the amount of stats and stuff and the importance he played in those drought years, I think is very underrated. 100%. Then at 72, we had Pat Williams. Big Pat, love that guy. 71, Travis Henry, another underrated back who doesn't get his due here within the Mafia, I don't think. Number 70, Leotis McKelvin. I buried the hatchet. I let it go last week.
That's good.
I let it go.
That's good. I saw some people on I think it was Twitter, saying that, I could feel their anger like you, and I had to kind of give them a little stat breakdown of really what he did for the Buffalo Bills, and it's well deserving, guys. I mean, I understand the play, but let's be real. Even current Buffalo Bills players, they've all made a big mistake, right? Everyone's made a mistake. Even Josh Allen, who's I love, he's made mistakes. It's part of football. No one is perfect. But yeah, he deserves to be there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't think he didn't deserve to be there, but when I think of him, that's what always comes to mind.
I know. Yeah, it's tough. It's rough.
You know what? I buried the hatchet. We're all good. I let it go. The Bills are great. I gotta love it. So number 69, we came in Joe Devlin. 68, Ron McDowell. 67, Lorenzo Alexander, Zoe, who was a fantastic Buffalo Bill in his short time with us. 66, Bob Chandler. 65, Harry Jacobs. 64, the coach, Jim Haslett, who was a fantastic player in his own right, but was nagged by injuries that really stunted his playing career. 63, Pete Metzelaars. 62, Steve Freeman. 61, Ben Williams. 60, Robert James. 59, Bryce Pop. The defensive player of the year, Bryce Pop.
Yeah.
Only played for us a short amount of time, but that guy was dynamic in a Bills uniform.
Yeah, he was the real deal.
58, Nate Clements. 57, Frank Lewis. 56, pound for pound, Antoine Winfield.
Yeah.
55, Mike Stratton. 54, Stevie Johnson, the best 7th round pick ever. 53, Phil Hansen. 52, the freak Mario Williams. And then 51 came in at our bookend, John Fina. And with that, last week, we didn't do John Fina justice.
Yes,
yeah, I don't feel like we did him justice. So to start off the show tonight, we're going to hear from our friend over at Buffalo Rumblings, Joe Miller, who's going to talk a little bit about John Fina.
John Fina, I don't have a ton of memories about John Fina. John Fina quietly went about his job as a left tackle. He was very, very rarely penalized. He was always in the right position. John protected the blind side of Jim Kelly and every quarterback after Jim Kelly up until 2001. You want to talk about an endearing man? John is that guy. John loves the city of Buffalo. He loves this franchise. He has told me personally that he is a fan of the Buffalo Bills, whereas he'd never really been a football fan in his life. The last couple of years and kind of getting connected to me and to you guys, to BillsMafia, it's made him a fan of this football team, and he loves being a part of this community even still. But John as a player, it was pretty much everything you wanted out of a left tackle, in as much that he did his job. He kept your quarterback safe, and he didn't commit penalties. He was a good one. John was as good a football player as he is a man.
Oh man, awesome take by Joe Miller there on John Fina.
And we appreciate, Joe and Joe Marino and Jay Spence and all of them who took time out of their day to film these things for us as we do this. So we appreciate the other content creators and them to collab with us on this. But let's jump into tonight. Scott said there's no need to recap. Mafia we always know.
I hear you. We just we like to do the recap just because sometimes we like to talk about maybe a player that we disagreed on that maybe should have been higher or lower, which you'll see how that goes as time goes on. We will talk about players that maybe, like I said, maybe a little bit too high on the list, maybe a little bit too low on the list. So it happens. This was a list, and this is what makes it interesting.
Yep.
All right, so you got that. So we're going to go ahead and begin this bad boy. Let me get everything ready for y'all. And we are going to start with player. Let's see here. We're going to start with player 50, Mikey. Here we go. Coming at number 50, Brian Moorman.
Brian Moorman, years 2001 to 2014, punter. Two-time All-Pro and Pro Bowl selections in 05 and 06. Holds the Bills' all-time punt records with punts, 923, gross average, 43.7, and punts inside the 20, 259. His 13 seasons are tied for the third most in team history. Brian Moorman is one of those guys who, during those drought years, he was probably the best guy on our team. And the funny thing is, the one time I really think of Brian Moorman, I think about him getting blown up by Sean Taylor in the Pro Bowl. It just makes me smile every time I can think about
Rest
it.
In peace.
Rest in peace. But
yeah, 100%, Mikey. Having a punter on any top list is a rarity, but well deserved for Brian Moorman. Dude was here forever, and look, he was an All-Pro, a Pro Bowl selection, 05-06. Multiple records he owns for Buffalo Bills. So the dude was just not only was a good punter, he was a good person. I know he had that Brian Moorman, I think, foundation it's called. He still does it.
Punt Foundation.
Punt Foundation that he still has today.
Yep.
So just he's just overall good guy. It was a very good punter for this team. Hopefully Punt God can be on this list one day, right? Like that's what we're hoping for. But well deserved for Brian Moorman coming in at number 50. Anything else on Brian Moorman?
No,
Mikey?
he was class act on and off the field. He transitioned his love for football into his love for kids and helping them get better with the Punt Foundation, and you got to respect it. He deserves the top 50 selection.
Yeah, 100%. All right, we're going to be moving on to number 49. Coming in at number 49, George Sames.
George Sames played from 1963 to 1969. He was a safety. He's a Bills Wall of Fame inductee in 2000, member of the Bills all-time team, 5-time All-Star, and a member of the all-time AFL defensive team. His 22 interceptions are tied for 10th in team history still.
Yeah. Like I said, 60-30, 69. Unfortunately, I'm glad I wasn't around because I'd be dead or something. I don't know. But dude was obviously a beast at his position. He's on the Wall of Fame. So, I mean, I don't know too much. Like I said, Mike, I don't want to go too crazy in depth, but he's 10th in team history. So clearly he was a ball hawk, and he made the Wall of Fame in 2000. So clearly he's highly thought of, in the Buffalo Bills organization. Not to mention the 5-time All-Star and member of the all-time AFL defensive team. So listen, back in the day, we all know how the AFL and NFL eventually merged, but the AFL beat the NFL initially, and that was your Buffalo Bills, I believe. I forget the team they beat, but they did beat the NFL, and they eventually merged. So the AFL wasn't like they were like, this isn't like the USFL for back then. Yeah. The AFL was legit. So these guys were just as hardcore as any NFL player was back then. It just they merged eventually, and now that's how it is.
Yeah, and think about this, Tommy. He had 22 interceptions in an era they didn't throw the ball all that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. There was a lot of running back then. That was the name of the game back then. It was just a totally different sport. So now we're going to go ahead and move on here. Let me get rid of this real quick. And we're going to go ahead and get to number 48. Number 48, our man, Eric Wood.
Eric Wood played from 2009 to 2018. He was our center, Pro Bowl selection in 2015, anchored the O-line in his tenure, including the 2017 season, breaking the 17-year playoff drought. Started all 120 games he played, was forced to retire after 9 seasons due to a neck condition. He was actually the first extension Brandon Beane gave. Eric Wood helped change the game. We talked a little bit about this during the Andy Levitre slide. And how when Wood and Levitre got drafted together, how they kind of changed the interior of that O-line. Eric Wood was the centerpiece. He was the captain. He was a dominant force who, unfortunately, due to injury, shortened his career. But that guy was only getting better, and he was getting ready to go into his prime of his career as the Bills were starting to take off. He finally got into. I'm so glad he got into a playoff in his last year before he had to hang it up.
Yeah, man. Eric Wood. I remember watching the combine, and I remember seeing him. And I didn't know we were going to pick him, and he stood out because he had the afro, right? Like his hair is very noticeable. And I'm like, who is this guy running? Because, and his hair is all over the place. And we wound up drafting him. I was like, I remember this guy in the combine. And dude, he was legit. He was as solid as you can get as a center. Like you said, I'm glad he got to make it to the playoffs before that. It was kind of a freak thing. He had no idea. And he was playing with that, like that whole season. And went in for like his annual checkup or something like that. It was just it wasn't even like it was hurting, he said, just a annual checkup. And the doctor said, if you play again, you're going to probably get paralyzed. So terrible thing. It sucks for him, but he's moved on, and he's moved on to the Buffalo Bills, and he does commentating for, I believe, college. So he's done.
He doesn't do college anymore. He
doesn't. Okay, he
did. He doesn't do college anymore. Okay, he did it when he first came out, but now he just does the play-by-play with on the Buffalo radio.
And he's still good friends with a lot of the players, the current and retired players, like Fred Jackson, Richie Incognito. So he always speaks highly of Buffalo Bills players, and I just love the dude. He's a good ambassador for the city and the team, man.
Absolutely.
Yep. And any other thoughts on Eric Wood?
No, I think although some people in the chat may think he's a little low, I think he sits right around, could you have dropped him a little bit, moved some other guys up? It's all for debate. That's the whole point of it.
So they think they're saying they think he should have been in the 70s.
No, they're not saying 70s. They just said he's a little low.
Just a little lower. It's really tough. I understand. And on this list, like I said, when we talked about in the beginning, there's going to be players that even me and Mikey are like, maybe he should have been higher. Maybe he should have been lower. I feel where he's at is about right. Because he was a dog, and it's very, you guys got to remember, it's very tough for that position. They don't get stats. It's not like a stat thing, right? It's not like a receiver.
Scott thinks he should have been, in the 30s, not in the 40s.
Okay.
So he thinks he should have been moved up high. Okay. Hey, wait till we get in the 30s. You'll see why it's so difficult.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what, real quick before we move on, me and Mikey, when we initially started this thing, we exactly were like you, Scott. We were like, oh my God, this guy, why 75? He should be at. And then once we kind of broke down the list, we were like, yeah, that's why, because there was a lot of great players, and it's tough for them to slide down that list, man. It is. It's only 100.
Yep.
All right, so we're gonna move on here. Let's move on here. All right, coming in number 47, our safety, Micah Hyde.
Micah Hyde came to the Buffalo in 2017. Currently, still our safety. Two-time second-team All-Pro, 2017 and 2021. Pro Bowl selection in 2017. Started all 86 games he played for the Bills, including 7 playoff games. Currently tied for 21st in team history with 14 interceptions, and still growing.
Yeah, this dude. Let me tell you, man. It was actually Brandon Beane's pretty much first kind of pickups. Sean McDermott in that 2017 free agency signing. And let's be real, when he came with Jordan Poyer, I mean, I didn't think of Micah Hyde as like the man in Green Bay. He was good. He was a good player, but he wasn't. I don't think he
was a nickel corner. He was a nickel corner in Green Bay.
Exactly. So I just don't. I kind of feel like I don't think anyone saw this coming. Like I don't think they saw the connection was going to happen that fast between Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, and they're the best safety duo in the NFL, hands down. To me. And I think
Bill Belichick too. He talks about it.
Yeah, and even Aaron Rodgers mentioned Micah Hyde as being a player that Green Bay messed up by getting rid of. Yeah. So yeah, and I actually have some clips here of Micah Hyde. I'm going to go ahead and play that now for you guys. Give me 1 second.
One of those guys. He's going to make all those plays. All those plays.
Quick pass, A.J. Green. It is picked off. Micah Hyde.
Beautifully played by Micah Hyde.
He's very underrated. He's lethal.
Jones had just 129 yards rushing this season. Jones, pump, rifle downfield. Intercepted. Sliding catch made by Hyde for the pick.
Man down to try and recover it.
Sanders high up in the air, and Micah Hyde has it, and there he goes! Micah to the house!
3rd and 5, and that pass is intercepted. Micah Hyde's going to take it to the end zone. Off the hands of Tyreek Hill and into the hands of Micah Hyde for a Buffalo touchdown.
I love the upset face by Andy Reid.
Right. Those plays just kind of highlight what Micah Hyde's all about. I think Micah Hyde is a little bit underrated within BillsMafia at times. Everyone talks about Jordan Poyer and how he's all-pro, which he is. But people forget Micah Hyde's a 2-time all-pro with Bills. I even forget sometimes at the 2017 how good he was. And he made second-team all-pro in 2017.
Oh, no doubt. Real quick, Meredith, welcome. I don't know if I've ever seen you, Meredith, but Thurman and Jim, yeah, I would think so.
They'll be in. I'll tell you, I believe they're in the top 3 or 4. I mean, I can't remember exactly where they rank, but Thurman and Jim are definitely in the top 5 for sure.
Put it this way, no worries on that. You'll see that's in 3 weeks, or a couple weeks actually, when we do the top 10.
Scott, I don't disagree with you. There is someone in the 30s we'll get to that I think is rated a little high. That Hyde or some of these others could have moved up and they could have moved down. However, you have to remember Hyde is still playing. His legend's going to continue to grow. And after we win the Super Bowl this year, I have a feeling he's going to be a big part of it, and he's going to slide up in our next round in a couple years.
Chewy, Meredith making demands. Hey, she's not making demands. She's, but I don't know if she was worried. But put it this way: if we had Thurman Thomas, like right here around this list, right here, like in 35, I would just shut the show off right away.
Right.
Like that would be it. Okay, guys. No. Like, no worries.
They're up there.
I promise you.
Some of the greatest Bills of all time.
Right.
Just an average Ray. Thanks for joining us tonight. Yeah, I agree. I think Hyde's going to be fantastic this year. I'm super. Oh, I cannot wait. I am so ready for this season.
That's why I'm so concerned with the Jordan Poyer thing, because like you said, Micah Hyde is very underrated. And like you said, Mikey, they talk a lot about Poyer. And I agree with you there. Like Hyde's not talked about as much, but they still are talked about as a team. They still are talking about the best safety duo in the NFL. And I think that they blend together so well. That's what makes them very good, man, to great. And it would just suck to lose one of them. You get what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like one goes, it's not the same for me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just being biased, but
No, there's such a good team, and that chemistry that those two have is different than a lot of them. You see some of the greatest safety duos, and when one leaves, it's just the other one's just not the same. Do I think Micah Hyde would fall off a cliff without Jordan Poyer? No, I think Micah Hyde would be fantastic. But they see the game the same way. And when you have two guys that can be interchangeable and see the game the same way, it's hard to break that duo up.
Yeah,
so I hope we see them stay together for longer here in Buffalo, but we'll see how that plays out.
They have that chemistry where they probably don't even need to talk to each other. Like there's players that can literally like look at one another and know what kind of think what they're thinking, and that's what they do, man. And by the way, real quick too on Hyde, what makes Hyde so valuable as well, Mikey, is the coach trusts him so much to do kick return, punt return if needed. You know what I mean? Onside kicks. Think about it. The clip that I just showed you, onside kick. Normally, you want your all pro safety back, whatever. You want your best players back there on a very dangerous play. Guy can get hurt, but he trusts them. All right, he trusts them to make the play, and that's what makes Micah Hyde so valuable, man. As a player, he does a lot, guys. And yeah, man, I love Micah Hyde, bro.
I don't know if you remember, but after that play, Micah Hyde went in and he was talking with the reporters, and he talked about how he should have gone down. He shouldn't have returned it for a touchdown. He said, but I saw the open green. I couldn't help myself. Like, he's so smart. Like, he should have, from a safety standpoint, he should have caught it and fell down. But he's like,
no doubt.
Look at all that open green. I'm going to go take a free touchdown.
It's tough, man. I agree. All right, we're going to be moving on here.
All right.
Number 46, Jordan Poyer.
Jordan Poyer, years 2017 to current. First team All-Pro in 2021. Started all 86 games, just like Micah Hyde. He's played, including the 7 playoff games. Currently tied for 14th in team history with 18 picks. These guys, we talked about it, Tommy. Who was 47? Who was 46? We couldn't. It was almost like flip a coin. We wanted to put 46/47 for both of them because they're, they are a tandem. It was just a matter of. I don't even know how one came out with the other. I think it was just like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo type of deal. Because they're both so great. We talked about Poyer a little bit during the Hyde piece. I hope this guy is here for longer than just this year.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like he got an all-pro selection finally, like well-deserved.
First team.
Yeah, first team didn't make the Pro Bowl, which is no odd that we were the best defense and no Pro Bowlers, but whatever.
I will tell you,
means way more than
Pro I'll tell you something, Tommy. I've gone through and I've done, up to this point, 54 slides, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every time someone was an All-Pro, they had a Pro Bowl selection with it. These are the first 2 guys who didn't.
Yeah, that's wild.
Because in 17, Hyde didn't make the Pro Bowl either.
Yeah, I know, and he was bitching, and I agree with him, because I think they get paid a little bit. Or it's recognition. There's something to it too that why they want it so bad because they're not playing.
It's usually an accelerator in their contracts as Pro Bowls.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So see, that makes sense. So, but no, Jordan Poyer, man, it just seems like for every season that goes by, he's getting better. Like he really is. He's improving each season. He was already awesome when he came here in 2017 with Micah Hyde. But it just seems like every year he's improving. And I got to say, man, him and Micah Hyde, they don't get injured. Those guys, they hit you hard. Like they're not afraid to hit you. They play smart and they're always available, which is very rare. They miss games.
Both of them have missed 2 games. If I remember looking at their stats correctly, they've missed 2 games in their 5 years here.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So,
and one of them wasn't from an injury. It was just because we had clinched and they gave him the day off.
Exactly. So always available. And listen, I understand where he's coming from as far as the contract. I hope that gets it done. It gets done. I think it will. I do. How long? I don't know. But it would be great for him to stay here, man. I hope they can reach a deal. Because this, like I said, man, players sometimes when they go move on for money, if it's a little bit more, sometimes it's a mistake, man. And I'm hoping that he comes back for a reasonable deal and we make him a reasonable offer as well. And he stays in Buffalo, man. Anything else on Jordan?
No, I think we hammered those two guys home pretty well.
All right. We're gonna move on. Coming in at number 45, Joe Cribbs.
Joe Cribbs had actually 2 stints with the Bills. He played from 1980 to 1983, and then again in 1985. Running back, 3-time Pro Bowl selection, 80, 81, and 83. NFL's All-Rookie team in 1980. Holds the rookie records for carries, 306, and rushing yards, 1,185. Ranks 4th in team history with 4,445 yards rushing. So a stud running back. Was really before my time. I was a little pup during this time, so I didn't have a ton on him. I didn't get to watch him. But Joe Cribbs, you go to YouTube, watch his highlights. The guy was a stud.
Right. Yeah, stats speak for themselves. Pro Bowl selection, 80, 81, 83. All rookie team in 1980. Holds the rookie record for carries and rushing yards as a rookie. And he ranks 4th in team history with 4,445 yards. So the dude was a baller. And that was like me and Mikey always talk about. That's kind of when, it was a lot of running, right? In the 60s, 70s, early 80s. Just a good overall solid running back for the Buffalo Bills, and that's why he lands at 45. And I wasn't around, like you said, as far as you, Mikey, you weren't around. I wasn't around. I wasn't watching football. At least I was around.
I was around too,
but I did start watching football in '89. So, he had already retired by then. So, but solid player, deserves to be at 45, guys.
I'll tell you what strikes me is he still holds the rookie records in rushing yards.
Yeah, that's
wild, with all the running backs and great. We had beast mode here. We had McGahee.
Right.
All those guys that have come through here. He still holds the rookie.
Even OJ Simpson. Here, apparently.
Thurman. we had Thurman, and we had these Hall of Famers, and he still holds the single season rookie rushing record all these years later.
That's wild. All right, coming in at number 44, Albert Dominion.
Albert Dominion, years 1960 and 1968, he was a wide receiver. He was an AFL All-Star in 1964, led the AFL in 1964 with a 27.1 yards per reception. He ranks 4th in team history in reception yards with 5,294, 10th in receptions with 294. And this was during the run era. So if you were to extrapolate to what that looks like today, he would have been one of those elite receivers back, in today's game. The dude was, obviously way before my time, but when you read up on his stats and you read like any type of history on him, the dude was a stud.
Yeah, and clearly before my time. Now this I wasn't around yet. I really was not here. So, but what stands out to me on this whole thing that you did was the 27.1 average per reception. Like that's
back in a run era. I mean, that's wild.
Like that dude, 27.1. like wow, that's crazy. AFL All-Star in 64, ranks 4th in team history. And that's crazy too. Ranks 4th. I mean, think about it, man. There's been a lot of good receivers in Buffalo, and he ranks 4th. So
in 8 years, he played 8 years with the Bills.
Right.
And during a run era, and he still ranks 4th.
And 10th in receptions too. So that is definitely impressive, man. Anything else on him, Mikey?
No, just that average rate comes in. It says way before my time, but his stats look great. And I'll tell you, if you do any type of deep dive history on the guy, as Tommy and I do before these shows to kind of get a feel for who these guys were, he was electric during his time. He was one of those guys.
Yep. All right, we're going to move on to number 43. Coming in at number 43, Booker Eggerson. Sorry.
Booker Eggerson, 1962 to 1969. He was a cornerback, an AFL All-Star in 65. He's tied for 7th in team history with 23 interceptions. He played 8 of his 9 years total with the Bills. So he played his first 8 years. He played 1 year elsewhere, and then he was gone out of the league. But ultimately, he was another ball hawk, one of those guys during the AFL era. When, it's crazy that there's this many interceptions. Like, did they have completions back in the AFL? Because, like, they didn't throw a ton, but, man, all these guys have a ton of picks.
They do. And that's crazy that he's 7th in team history with 23. That's wild, man. And, I mean, you're talking about a guy who was with us this 1969, and he's still 7th. Yeah. That's pretty damn good. 8 to 9 years with Bill, so he was a Buffalo player, man. He stayed in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. He was true to the team.
Part of those championship
AFL
teams.
Yeah, exactly. AFL All-Star in 65. So
those teams must have just been dominant. Those teams must have just been like those Madden teams that you can build up and you just run roughshod over everybody. Those AFL teams, because there's so many of these guys from that era, that era of teams that still rank super high on our all-time list. They must have just run roughshod over everybody during those years.
Yeah. I wonder if any of the old timers, when people were like, you guys haven't won a Super Bowl 4 straight years. I wonder if anyone was like, yeah, but we got 2 AFL championships.
Right.
Like, I mean, that's still impressive. Like I said earlier, AFL they were like the NFL. They just merged. They were just as good, but nobody ever talks about it, right? Like nobody ever, like that's just like a who cares record. But I don't know. Now that I think about it, they won 2 back-to-back AFL championships. Mm-hmm. That's important. I mean, I know it's before our time, but that was our damn good teams then, back to back. It's very tough to get to any championship again and win it. So got to give them credit, man.
And credit for that. He comes in and says, these guys played at the Rock Pile. That's right. Back in the day, they played at the Rock.
The Rock. All right, we're going to move on here. Going to number 42. Coming at number 42, Steve Christie.
Steve Christie played from 1992 to 2000. Member of the Bills all-time team, leads the team in career scoring with 1,011 points. All-time leader with 234 field goals, ranked 2nd in team history in single season scoring with 140 points in 1998. Can you name me who beat him just recently?
Who beat him in what?
The season scoring.
Probably Bass. If I had
he did. His rookie year in 2020.
Right.
He scored 141 in 2020 to break
a lot of points
Steve Christie all-time record. But just think about that. He held that record for 20 years before Bass came through and took it from him in his rookie year. So I'll expect to see Bass continue his longevity to be up here with Steve Christie in the future.
No
but
doubt.
This guy was about as clutch kicker as you can get. He is a member of the all-time Bills team for a reason. This guy was money.
Yeah. I love Steve Christie, man. Like he definitely one of my favorite kickers to come through Buffalo. And he was clutch every time Steve Christie went up there. And remember, it's not like we play in, South Florida, right? Like
or inside of a dome.
Right, or dome. We're playing in Buffalo outdoor, the windiest, where wind just loves to go inside. And, even though they say it's 10 miles per hour, it's like 30 inside our stadium. Mm-hmm. This guy was still making kicks, clutch kicks. And, there's a reason why he's number 42. The guy was just that good. And, yeah.
He really was.
Yep. All right. Anything else on Christie?
No, just gotta give him his respect. As a kicker, making the top 50 all times. He's the greatest kicker in Buffalo history to this point, and 100%. gotta show him some respect.
100%. All right, coming in at number 41, Henry Jones.
Henry Jones played from 1991 to 2000. He was a safety. First team All-Pro and Pro Bowl selections in 1992. Member of the Bills all-time team. Ranks 14th in team history in interceptions with 18. Led the NFL in interceptions with 8 and return yards with 263 in 1992. This guy was another ball hawk. I do remember Henry Jones. He was part of some of those championship teams for us that went to the Super Bowl and lost. He was a fantastic Bill.
Oh, dude. I remember when I first got into sports cards, and I bought a box of Pro Set, and I had so many Henry Jones rookie cards. There's 1990 Pro Set or whatever. And I was like, man, I loved Henry Jones. So I kept them all pristine. And but this dude, like you said, was a ball hawk. Was with us for a long time. Went to Super Bowls, obviously, All Pro 92. He led. I didn't know he led the NFL in interceptions 1 year, which is pretty damn cool. Yep. And return yards. I until this, I didn't know that. I just knew he was a ball hawk. And not only that, he could hit hard, man. That dude was not afraid to, knock your helmet off, man. So hell of a player. Was on those Super Bowl teams. Stayed true to Buffalo all the way up till 2000. And that's, if you think about it, I would say in 95 is when, the Buffalo Bills started to decline, right? And Jim Kelly was getting a little older. Thurman Thomas getting a little older. Bruce Smith starting to get a little older. And this dude, man, he stayed through that, some rough seasons there, right? And still, think about it, got into playoffs with us because we got into playoffs in 98 and 99. So, yeah, this dude was, one of the better safeties in the NFL for a long time.
He was a staple of our secondary and for almost a decade. And you got to give him the respect for what he was able to do.
Yeah. Just your average boy, just your average Ray. I almost said just your average boy. Sorry, Ray. just average Ray coming in. It's crazy how all these players have broken so many records over the years and centuries. Yeah, man. Wow, bro. It really is. And that's why I go back to you guys will understand once we're going up this list why we couldn't put certain players at a certain point because higher because you forget about some of these guys. You're like, oh my God, I forgot about this guy. Totally forgot about how good he was. All right, so we're going to be moving on now, Mikey. Coming in at number 40, Jerry Hughes.
Jerry Hughes played with the Bills from 2013 to 2019. Defensive end, ranks 4th in team history with 53 sacks. Ranks tied for 19th in games played in team history with 144. He had 350 tackles, 16 forced fumbles, 5 recoveries, 2 of which he returned for touchdowns. He never made the Pro Bowl. Isn't that a crazy stat? As good as Jerry Hughes was with the Bills, and there was a lot of seasons he had double-digit sacks, he never got the recognition and made the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think he ever really got a lot of respect. I'll be real with you, man. Even BillsMafia, especially at the end, man, kind of were a little too tough on Jerry Hughes, man, in my opinion. I thought Jerry Hughes, was a steal of a trade from the Colts.
Yeah. We gave a Shepherd for him.
Yeah, steal right away. He produced. He always played at a high level with intensity. He loved his teammates and
loved the city.
Yeah, he never he just came out and did his thing, right? And I got it at the end. I understand people's frustration because we weren't getting sacks, but the dude still was putting pressure. I mean, I could it be scheme? I don't know. Could it just be him aging? I don't know. But either way, I felt like people were putting a little bit too much disrespect on what he did and what he offered this team. And yeah, it was his time to move on. And I kind of wish he retired a Buffalo Bill instead of moving on to Houston because Houston's just, it's a bad team. They're growing.
But he went home. He went home.
He did go home. And maybe that's his thing. Maybe his thing was play one more year or whatever. And now I'm home. I'll just, you know what I mean? But he will retire a Buffalo Bill. He will go down as one of the better edges that we've had. And that's why he's at number 40. And I actually got a clip here that I did here of Jerry Hughes. Mikey, I'm going to go ahead and play that now. Okay.
Play by Jerry Hughes, going against who I think is probably the best left tackle in the league, Joe Thomas, draws a hold, and then in classic Jerry Hughes fashion, plays to the end of the whistle every play, strips the ball, picks it up, scores a touchdown, jumps in the stands, comes out and starts dancing with his teammates. Just a fun play and one I'll probably never forget.
Jerry Hughes runs it into the end zone for the touchdown, and now this place is on fire.
Drew Lock from the 25-yard line.
Stepping up, lost the football. That's loose, and Jerry Hughes has it. Still on his feet, inside the 20. He might go. He gets the final block, and Jerry Hughes takes it home. Back-to-back weeks.
I remember that play like that was yesterday. Trey White stripping Drew Lock, and I was like, no way he's gonna get in, right? Like there was a lot of
he pulled out his old high school running back days because Jerry Hughes was a high school running back. He pulled out his moves and he was carrying it like Shady used to carry it, ball in one hand as he's running like a loaf of bread. Dude, it was crazy.
And it was so like it was like nothing to him though. He didn't seem like he knew what he was exactly doing. He made the cut. Impressive, man. Really impressive. Like I said before, man. I always have respect for Jerry Hughes, and he liked one of my tweets. So Jerry Hughes will always be a fan of Jerry Hughes.
Jerry Hughes was a fantastic Buffalo Bill who deserves more respect. I get at the end, he wasn't converting his pressures to sacks, but that's also a team game. Was he was creating pressures, others should have helped, cause the sack. It didn't happen. He took the brunt of it as the leader of that D line. But ultimately, he was, he was our superstar on the D line for a long time, and he didn't have a whole lot of help there for a while.
Yeah, dude. And somebody came in. Where did I see that? Right here, Scott coming in, played on bad teams most years. 100% he played on bad teams. So, 2013 to 2019, right? Actually, I don't know why you put 29. He was on from 2021.
2020, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why. I think I just.
So that's wrong there. So that's a typo, guy. So
typo,
right? So he was with us from 2013. Those are some bad teams. Like the 2017 playoff team was not supposed to be, right? Like that was not supposed to be. So that dude stuck around, right? On some, once again, bad quarterback play, bad coaching, right? Like GM wasn't good, and he could have been like one of those guys I want out. Just this is not going anywhere. And there's a lot of players that do that, and that's why I continue to say, Mikey, when we go through this list, it's amazing to me, especially the drought year players, that they stuck around some of these guys as long as they did. Because to me, it's like, let's be real, guys. Like Buffalo Bills were a joke. Like I watched because I loved the team. It was a joke. It was ran bad, right? Like every year, like every 2 years, we were getting a new coach, right? Every 2 years. And these guys, these poor guys that were staying season after season.
The Kyle Williams is the
when they could have got paid and said, you know what, obviously the outlook is not good here. You guys don't know what you're doing. I'd rather just go. Like, and they didn't. Like, it was amazing that he didn't. And some of these guys. Yeah, man, right. They did. Yeah. So it's like, I give them mad respect. The guys that stuck around and just said, you know what? Like, I'm staying. I'm going to do my thing. And hopefully this thing turns around. And some of those players, Mikey, they stuck around for nothing because it didn't happen. And luckily,
some of them, even Kyle Williams,
it happened.
Kyle Williams, it happened too. He made one. He ended up making one playoff game.
Correct.
Eric Wood the same way.
Thank God for Kyle Williams for that too.
Eric Wood the same way. He got into one playoff game. So some of those guys did, but you're right. A lot of those guys didn't.
Right.
Get that turnaround. They were help. They helped start the turnaround. And that's one of the things. Jerry Hughes bought in early to Sean McDermott and helped that culture change. He was always a captain. So, much respect to Jerry for making the top 40. He was a fantastic Buffalo Bill.
Yep. And now we're going to talk about another guy coming in at number 39, Fred Jackson. Fast Freddy, man.
Fred Jackson, 2007 to 2014, he was a running back. Ranks third in team history with 5,646 rushing yards and fifth in rushing TDs with 30. Ranks fifth in team history in receptions as well with 322. Ranks fifth in team history with 8,286 yards from scrimmage and a 78.2 yards per game average is third best, only behind OJ and Thurman. Fred Jackson is the epitome of a beast. That guy, and think about it, he had to share time with people also, and he still put up all those numbers.
Yeah, man. Fred now just goes back to what we were talking about. Here's a player, stood on the team for a while, no playoffs, right? Could have went somewhere else, could have took his talent somewhere else. He chose not to. And he's a stand-up guy. Not only did he produce on the field, he was a good guy outside the field, right? Like he was just a good human being. Like, and he's still today like a diehard Buffalo Bill. He's an ambassador to this team. So love Fred Jackson. Came out of college, which is I believe was Marv Levy school, if I'm not mistaken. His college, I mean. So that was pretty cool.
Playing in NFL Europe.
Yeah, playing NFL Europe, and I think was he a walk-on with us? I think he was a walk-on, correct?
Yeah, he was basically an undrafted free agent signee,
right?
Who then went to NFL Europe under the Bils affiliation, and then came into training camp and just was so good we couldn't cut him.
What's funny is though, if you think about those teams, those years. We kept trying to draft a running back to come
over the top of him, and he just kept beating him out.
And it's just, and some of them did, some of them were good, and they did maybe start, but they didn't stick around, right? Fred Jackson stuck around, and he could have been salty. He could have been like, "Bro, what's going on here?" Right? Like, just get rid of me then. But he bought in to it, which he shouldn't have, to be honest with you. Once again, but he bought in. He stayed here. And did his thing. He did his thing. He was loyal and he produced. He didn't cry about anything. He wasn't mad about McGahee coming in and all them players coming in.
Spiller.
He just did his job, man. Just did his job.
Yep. And I'll tell you, he played 1 year after the Bills, and then he hung it up and he retired a Buffalo Bill. The guy was electric. He was the epitome of consistency across the board, and the fact that he had to split carries with all those different running backs, and he still ranks 5th in team history.
Marshawn Lynch.
He was a stud. True stud.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. We're going to move on to number 38, Lee Evans.
Lee Evans played from 2004 to 2011. Was a wide receiver, ranks 4th in Bills history in receptions with 377, and 3rd in receiving yards with 59.34, and TDs with 43. Holds a single game record with 265 receiving yards against Houston in 2006. I did not realize, I knew Lee Evans was good. I didn't realize the numbers that he put up in his career. Like, I always knew he was really good and I loved him, and I thought he played for crappy teams and was done wrong. He was better than because he never made the Pro Bowl. He never did any of those things because he played for a bad team. But the dude was just electric. He was one of the best deep threats in the NFL for a long time.
Oh, dude, Lee Evans. When we drafted him, I was so happy because I loved him coming out of college. I remember his combine and everything. He was so fast, man. That dude has some speed. And then I was so excited because he was coming with Eric Moulds at the time, and it was him, and then Eric Moulds and Lee Evans, and then I think it was him and I want to say Stevie for a minute, but man, Lee Evans was
Josh Reid was there for a minute too with him.
Josh Reid as well. Yeah. So Lee Evans was just that guy. I didn't know about the single season record, the single game record, which is really that's a gang load of receiving yards. That's unbelievable. I knew about Mold's playoff record, but I didn't know about this one. That's
shout out that article. That article, that's where I was able to find that. Was that article that I was down on, that Sal put out. So shout out to that article that gave me that tip. Ultimately, Lee Evans was electric. He left the Bills and went on to Baltimore and got to play in some playoffs. He had a horrible drop. That everyone talks about, but ultimately the dude was amazing.
And once again, like I said, every great player or good player, whatever, they're going to make a mistake. It sucks, and sometimes it's on a big moment, and it will be remembered. And Baltimore fans will remember that. It didn't happen to us. Like, I don't care. Baltimore, but I do got a clip here, Lee Evans. I'm going to go ahead and play that for you guys.
Last minute throw on first down. Firing down the field. Dangerous. Oh! Caught! Evans! Touchdown, Buffalo! No flag!
before game time. Lossman lets a long ball go. He has a receiver, and it could go the distance. It does. Lee Evans takes it in, and the Bills hit. And the last time we played the Bills, the first catch is over the middle. And now, on the move is Lossman. Another long ball. Lee Evans again, and Lee Evans has it again. He's going in again. No flat. Perish a lot. Here is Lossman. Takes a look, makes a throw. He's got it in the end zone. It is a touchdown. And this game with 2:14 to play in the first quarter, Lossman, looking like Dan Marino on this field, has hit for 3 touchdown throws.
All 3 to number 83, Lee Evans. What a great start.
Bro, all 3. I know you were thinking at first, man, why are you playing? Bro, I thought this dude was going to have like 9 touchdowns. Like,
I remember that game.
That's crazy, bro. What a hell of a start. But yeah, I'll tell you what, and getting off a little topic here, but JP Lossman, for as much as people criticize him, he had a really good connection with Lee Evans. Like him and Lee Evans, because I remember when Trent came in, they didn't have that great of connection, Trent and Lee. Lee Evans and JP Lossman, they had a good connection from the get-go. I think JP just gave him an opportunity. Like if you saw that one play, that was a bad throw. The very first play against the Colts, he just threw it up there. There was 2 defenders there.
There was a few bad throws in there that he just made the play. Let's be honest. Right. Like he underthrew him on one against the. Like,
he did. You're
2
right.
of the 3 against the Dolphins were bad throws that he just made great plays on.
You're right. But I mean, the first one was horrendous, like really bad. But my point is they had a good connection, and that's where a lot of Lee Evans' yards came from. So
JP had a really pretty deep ball, and Lee Evans was just crazy fast. Of all JP Lossman's faults, the one thing you couldn't fault him on is that the guy did have a pretty deep ball. He was able to throw it and had that perfect little arc that turned over as it was coming down. A lot of them that didn't have that, and JP did, and Lee Evans was the recipient of a lot of those. I mean, it helps when the guy has 5 yards up in front of his man, so it's easier to throw those. But
when he has electric speed, you know what I mean, it's gonna happen. Anything else on Lee?
No, fantastic Buffalo Bill. I miss him. I would love to see him in this offense with Josh Allen. God, that'd been fun.
Oh, dude, that'd be great. Coming in at number 37, quarterback Jack Kemp.
Jack Kemp played from 1962 to 1969. Quarterback, 1965 AFL Player of the Year, 6-time AFL All-Star, Bills Wall of Famer, ranks 3rd in team history with 15,134 passing yards, and 5th with 77 TD passes. The 4th would be Mr. Josh Allen, who will probably pass him this year, as he's about 1,000 yards away from Jack Kemp. But Jack Kemp was a fantastic Buffalo Bill. It was one of those superstars quarterbacks that the Bills had before Jim Kelly came. And then they passed that on after Jim Kelly to Josh Allen. So when you think of Bills quarterbacks, Jack Kemp comes up.
Chewy knows his stuff, man. I gotta tell you, I don't know how old Chewy is, but I see comments on a lot of these old timers that we talk about that me and you are, we don't know too much around. But Chewy, I don't know your age, man, but you seem to know a lot. Unless you're just a history buff of the Buffalo Bills, which is great.
I appreciate our chat. Our chat keeps us honest and gives us backstories. And when we miss things, that's one thing I love about our chat.
100%. Like I know I'm really good at from late
Chewy is 59.
Okay. Hey, he's not that old, but yeah, man, I'm good at, like I said, 89 and up, man. But some of these guys I don't know too much about. I'm not gonna, sit here and tell you, Jack Kemp was the man, but he was that dude. If you look at the stats, AFL Player of the Year, 6-time AFL All-Star, which is, like I said, like a Pro Bowler. He's on the Bills Wall of Fame, which there should be other players as well, but ranks 3rd in team history. Yeah, man, just a solid dude. He's going to get his records broken in time. But look, he's still that kind of shows you, Mikey, the amount of quarterbacks that came in and just were not good. When a guy from 1969
still ranks,
right?
In the top 3.
You got to be kidding me. Really? Yes, I'm sure he was good, but come on, man. Thank God we got Josh Allen. That's all I got to say. And Jack Kemp, man, well deserving of number 37. Anything else on Jack Kemp?
Yeah. They were talking about it, and Scott Billings comes in and says, he went into politics too, and he was a fantastic politician as well. So he had a successful professional career, and then changed. And he was very big in the community here in Buffalo. I remember them talking about Jack Kemp a lot late in our owner's life. And more power to him. I'm glad we have Josh Allen, who's going to break all his records, though.
And I gotta say, because I've been drinking a little bit, I made a mistake, Mikey. I had a clip of Fred Jackson I didn't play.
Oh no.
Yep. But I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it right now.
Still trying to get him to that number. And he's got it. Fred Jackson. Over 1,000 yards for the season. 2nd and 8 after the completion to Evans. Again, Jackson reverses his field and has some running room. Jackson out of bounds at the 20. Well, during the break, they announced Fred Jackson's accomplishment of 1,000 yards on the season. He got a huge ovation. Fred with 12 carries in the third quarter for 103 yards.
They've got it 1st and goal from the Green Bay 4. Here's Jackson sprinting out to the left. Waltzes in. Touchdown Buffalo.
Perfect drive. 45. Fred Jackson. Jackson with running room. Making people miss. Down the sideline.
And Bils tied at 20. Buffalo on the move as Fred Jackson breaks free. The stiff arm to Christie. Jackson stays at his feet. He dives. And it.
Jackson running. Jackson first down and south. Fred Jackson. Exclamation point.
Five defensive backs. Jackson 3rd and 10. Oh, and he busts one free. He's being chased from behind. Timmons can't get him. Gabe will try to he's in for the touchdown.
From Little Cole College. And we said it.
His vision was special. If you go back and watch those clips, the vision he had was special. He just saw it so well.
He was the man. I'm telling you, Fred Jackson, he was that dude, man. And he was strong, man. He was strong. He had speed. He had good vision. Like he was a total package, man. I just felt like, like I said, once again, there's some bad teams. By the way, did you see the Ryan Fitzpatrick block?
Yeah.
That's Ryan Fitzpatrick for you guys, by the way. Like that dude was not, like most quarterbacks would not even be in the play at that point. Right. Ryan Fitzpatrick down there, like what the hell, man? All right, we're gonna move on here to number 36. Coming in at number 36, Butch Bird.
Butch Bird played from 1964 to 1970. He was a cornerback, 5-time AFL All-Star, member of the Bills all-time team. Bills all-time leader in interceptions with 40. His 5 interception TDs are tied for the most in team history as well. Stud cornerback, the gold standard in Buffalo Bills history.
Yeah, man. By the way, I could be wrong. Is he related to Jairus Bird? Just curious because they have the same last name. And kind of
Jairus Bird's dad was.
I know he played football. I'm just curious.
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah. If anyone in the chat,
I want to say yes. I want to say yes.
Because I know his dad played, but
he's a coach. Buffalo? I want to say yes.
All right. If you guys know in the chat, before Mikey finds it, let me know. But yeah, Butch Bird, before my time, before I was even born. Once again, another old school guy, 5-time AFL All-Star, member of the Bills All Team, Bills all-time leader in interception.
That is his dad. Butch Bird is.
Look at that. Look at that. That's his
father
dad.
and son made the list.
And they both pretty much played pretty much same position, safety corner.
Secondary.
All-time leader in interceptions. That's impressive. I didn't know that. It's 5 interceptions, touchdowns are tied for most. Wow. So this dude was legit, and I see why now Jairus Bird was as good as he was.
Good. He was
100%. Didn't beat his dad on the list though.
No, he did not. He didn't play. He didn't play quite as long as his dad did in Buffalo.
Yeah, didn't beat him.
Nope.
His dad could now say on the Mafia Sports Report in Buffalo Fambase, son, I was still better. Still
better than you.
All right. Anything else on Bird?
No, we're good.
All right. Coming in at number 35, big Ted Washington.
Ted Washington played from 1995 to 2000, defensive tackle, second team All-Pro selection 1997, three-time Pro Bowl selection 97, 98, and 2000. Had 19 and a half sacks, 378 tackles while anchoring the middle of the Bills defense for 6 years. The dude was truly an anchor. He was a mammoth of a man.
Yes. He was. I just remember him, man. I'm like, this guy is huge. Like he's stuffed. Like, you were not getting past Ted Washington. Like, if you're a running back, you're not going up the middle there. You're not going towards Ted Washington, because if he grabs you, you're done. And he was really, really good at his position. Offensive linemen hated playing against him because he was just a big, tough SOB, man. Loved Ted Washington. And that's why he's here at 35. Well deserving. Three-time Pro Bowl, 97, 98, 2000. I mean, dude was super legit. Second team All-Pro in 97. Yeah, man. I mean, this is the kind of guy that you want on your line. He is that dude. And yeah, I mean, hopefully this year, now that we added some bulk, now they're not as big as Ted Washington, but we got some bigger guys now. But yeah, this guy was legit, man.
And correction, Butch Bird was not Jerry Bird's dad. Gil Bird was Jerry Bird's dad.
All right, so Butch Bird can't. Well, Butch Bird still.
I got you.
You can still say, yeah, even though I'm not related. The Birdman, there's another Birdman higher.
Yeah. Appreciate the chat for correcting us as we come in. But yeah, so Gil Bird, and actually Gil was a coach too. So
yeah, I knew his dad played football. I just didn't know it was
played for the Chargers.
Okay, all right. Coming in at number 34, Stephon Gilmore. All right, Mikey.
All right, Stephon Gilmore played from 2012 2016, cornerback. Pro Bowl selection 2016, tied for 21st in team history in interceptions with 14 in the 68 games. Since leaving the Bills, he's been named to 4 Pro Bowls, 2 first-team All-Pros, and the 2019 Defensive Player of the Year. Okay, I respect what Gilmore has done. However, he's done more away from the Bills than he did with the Bills. I think this is a little high for him. I think he should have fell back. Earlier someone was saying, he felt like the person should have moved up. Maybe we should have swapped them spots. Stephon Gilmore was a fantastic Buffalo Bill, and he's a great corner. But most of his accolades came after he left Buffalo.
Yeah. I'm 100% agree with this. He should have. He's deserving to be on the list.
Yeah.
But I think he should have been lower. I'm not going to say it number wise, but I think he's a little too high on this list. But like I said, once again, guys, it was voted on. It was looked through.
Yeah.
This probably will change in the future, but right now he is 34. And like Mikey said, he was considered at one point the best corner in football for like 2 or 3 seasons. Like, he was the guy. Unfortunately, it wasn't with us. It was with the Patriots, but he was still, he came to us as he was damn good with us. He just got
There's a reason why Bill Belichick gave him that giant contract when he left Buffalo.
Yeah,
it's because he was a fantastic corner, and he was a Pro Bowl selection in his last year with us. He was, he was trending in the right direction. Then went on to the Patriots and added 4 more, couple All Pros and a Defensive Player of the Year honors. Do I think he could have done the same thing in Buffalo? Yes, I do. Under Sean McDermott, I think he could have done the same thing. The dude was a stud. Do I think he's a little high on the list? Probably. However, it is what it is, and he's deserving of making the list.
Yeah, being on the list. Maybe not the spot, but it is what it is, guys. Yeah. And like you said, Belichick does not pay. He hates it. So for him to pay this guy, he knew he was a real deal. He was. But yeah, we're going to be moving on to number 33, Jerry Butler.
Jerry Butler played from 1979 to 1986. He was a wide receiver. Pro Bowl selection in 1980. Ranks 12th in team history with 288 catches and 7th in yards with 4,301. In 1979, his 255 yards against the Jets was a team record until 2006. His 4 TDs in that game is still tied for a team mark. And he's also tied with our boy Gabe Davis, who had 4 in the playoffs.
Yeah, man. Solid receiver back in the day. Once again, before my time. But the guy was a stud at his position. One of the best receivers in Buffalo history. That's why he's at number 33. Once again, not in my time, but the guy, from all his stats, he was the guy in Buffalo. He was one of the best receivers in the league.
Fantastic. And I believe Jerry Butler went on to become a fantastic coach as well.
Okay. All right. Coming in number 32, Reggie McKenzie.
Reggie McKenzie played from 1972 to 1982. He was a guard. O.J. Simpson called him his main man, though he never made a Pro Bowl. Was one of the best pulling guards in the NFL. He played 147 games in 11 seasons for the Bills and didn't miss a start until 1981. The dude was an anchor on the interior O-line for the Bills and for OJ, but the dude never got the recognition playing in Buffalo.
Yep. And that line was called the Electric Company, I believe. They called themselves the Electric Company. And OJ loved this guy because he would create massive holes for him. And as that picture shows, the one that I initially showed, that dude was a mean looking dude. Like, I would not want to see Reggie McKenzie in the street. Piss him off, you know what I mean? Like that dude probably would hurt you. Like if in a bar fight, like that guy is a tough dude. But yeah, man, one of the better or best offensive guards that come through Buffalo, man. 11 seasons, the dude was
crazy. He never made a Pro Bowl. He's another guy who just never made a Pro Bowl.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Pro Bowls are so weird, man.
Well, it's not only that, but stats for like linemen, especially on the offensive linemen, are really hard to justify. You have to go by the overall dominance that they had, but he never got the league recognition as being one of the greats, even though all the teammates loved him, and they talked about how great he was. Like, he was the enforcer on that O-line.
Yep. And Mikey, guess what? We are down to our last player of the night. Coming in at number 31, it's our man, Tre'Davious White.
Tre'Davious White came to us in 2017 along with Poyer and Hyde. So all 3 of those guys have been together from 2017 to current. 2-time All-Pro selection, first team in 2019 and second team in 2020. 2-time Pro Bowl selection in 19 and 20. NFL All-Rookie team in 2017 and currently ranks 19th in team history with 16 picks and is only getting better. He got hurt at the end of last year. He's on his way back. He stills with his guys, Hyde and Poyer. We picked up a new CB2 in Elam who will help Tre'Davious Hyde. The dude is just a class act on and off the field and is one of the leaders in our secondary.
I love Trey White. He was the pick we chose when we traded with KC. KC got Mahomes, as the world knows. And a lot of people are like, oh, terrible, trade. You could have got Mahomes. Well,
that's hindsight's 2020. Hindsight's
don't
2020.
Matter. It don't matter because it worked out beautifully, right? So we wind up getting Josh Allen, and we got one of the better corners in the NFL.
And so we ended up getting Josh Allen, Trey White, and Tremaine Edmonds from by moving back that year.
Yeah, so everything kind of worked out beautiful for us. And Trey White, once again, another player like a Fred Jackson who's just loves Buffalo, right? Loves the city. Does a lot of good things for the city. I love his hockey thing that he has, that he does.
Goalie Academy. Yeah, Trey White's Goalie Academy.
Yeah, it's like an ongoing joke, but he made it into like a thing, and just a hell of a player. Now the interception thing, he's not really like that kind of a player. He's more of a he's a stickler, right? So he sticks on you, and teams don't really throw his way a lot of the times. He's always usually going against the best receiver, but he's not like an interception guy. So I don't see, and that's why he's ranked 19th. Like, I don't see that going up. He's not going to be in like the top 5, I don't think, because that's not his game. His game's more of a
he's
stick
a
on a defender.
He's a technician.
Yeah, 100% a technician. He'll poke the ball away. He sticks with the receiver. He's just that dude. He makes plays.
Yeah, most of his picks actually come from when he peels off of his guys back into zones because he reads it so well. Like, he's one of those guys who's going to transition from corner to safety later in his career. Because he's one of those smart technicians. Like, that's why his game isn't predicated on speed, which is why I don't think the ACL injury is going to hurt him as much as it hurts other corners when they have it, because he's all about, his area and being, perfect in his technique. So,
Mikey, do you want to feel good about yourself right now?
I am. I'll tell you. I'm excited about these topics, and as we get closer to the top 10, and as we get closer to the top 10s means we get closer to the season, and as we get closer to the season, we get to start talking about the Bills and how great they are.
I do got a clip of Trey White real quick, guys, for you.
Trey White. What about Trey White makes him the elite cornerback that he is,
or the best corner in the NFL?
White got his hands on it.
That was Tre'Davious White that got his hand on that ball.
Watch White. Look at his vision. Zone coverage. He's just going to read the quarterback. Reid, bait, jump it.
Quarterbacks are well advised to steer clear of number 27.
Great pass breakup by Tre'Davious White.
When you're covering some of the best athletes in the world out there and you're asked to do some of the things that Tre'Davious is asked to do, you have to be really on top of your route running as a receiver. Detail matters against a player like that. You can't get sloppy or he'll make you pay.
Really good at reading receivers' body language. He knows how to jump routes. He knows how to undercut.
And Tre'Davious White, his first interception this year.
Yeah, everything you said pretty much right there, Mike.
It's just,
dude is a technician.
He's so smart. He's so smart. When he reads he has such a good feel for the game.
Yep. 100%.
Love the guy.
Yeah, I do want to say real quick, guys, to the chat. I know this is a little off topic because now we completed the 50 through 31. I want to say thank you to everybody that tunes in to me and Mikey. To Mafia Sports Report, to Buffalo Fambase. My channel, Mafia Sports Report, finally got monetized after a year and a half. It was a goal of mine. It was a goal of Mikey's. And I didn't think it was going to happen. Listen, guys, it's really, really tough to get monetized by YouTube. And we did it. So
thanks to you guys.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I want to say thanks to you guys for tuning in. To guys that are fairly kind of new, year and a half, when there's a lot of other Bills content out there. And we're going to continue to get better. And we got a lot of good things coming up this season. And we hope you guys, continue to watch. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I appreciate you guys, man.
Showing some love to our viewers.
Yeah.
And we're two fans who just like to talk football, and the viewers come in. Thank you, Scott. We appreciate you. You are the first to be the super chat. We do appreciate you, Scott. We actually appreciate all you guys coming in. A lot of the shows wouldn't go as long without you guys. You guys bring a piece to our content that is different than a lot of other places. I was a fan before I started doing this. I used to go watch all the content creations too, and I always had takes, and I would put them in there, and sometimes they got read, sometimes they didn't. So we try to catch as much as we can. We are run based off of you. If you guys want to talk about something, let's talk about it. At the end of the day, this show exists for people like you, who are people like me. I am a fan. I still watch all the other content creators. It's just so much fun to do.
Chewy, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. We do. And like I said, super chat or not, we're always going to answer, reply to questions or whatever like that, that's not like what we were going for. Like it was to get monetized was just, for me at least, was a step up for the channel. Like just saying, we're real. You know what I mean? We're not just we're taking it serious and having fun with it. But it was just a goal. Like I said, it was a goal of mine, and that goal is complete. And now it's time to go on to the next chapter, which is just to get more content on here for you guys. As you guys know, I got Jason Malloy that does Buffalo Sabres. So any of you hockey fans out there, Buffalo Sabres fans, he will be going live once the season starts. He's already done a few videos, so that's good. I also got some pro wrestling. If any guys watch wrestling, WWE, AEW, I got these two guys coming on board. I'll let you guys know when that's going to happen. That's just something different.
And we have a fantasy show getting ready to start too.
We do. So our fantasy football show will be Saturdays at 1 p.m. And that's going to start. When is that going to start, Mikey? Do we have a date planned yet or no? We haven't set the date yet, right?
No, we haven't set the date yet. We haven't set the date.
We're actually our first show, guys, is going to be us doing a live fantasy draft, and it's going to be a league that the Mafia Sports Report League. That'll be our first show, and I think that's we have a date. I just don't remember. It's like August something. So we got that. We got the AFC East Shakedown. That's still alive, guys. That's going to be awesome. I finally added a Jets guy. And he's a really nice guy. Long Beach Joe is his name. He has a YouTube channel. He will be joining the AFC East Shakedown. Also, Friday Night Lights is no longer, we're not affiliated with hashtag anymore, though we love those guys. Just a heads up, Friday Night Lights will be strictly on Mafia Sports Report, and Tailgate Talk will be on Mafia Sports Report as well, and that will be post-game shows. So any post-game Buffalo Bills show, me and Mikey will be on 15 minutes after the game is over to talk about the Buffalo Bills game, and that will be Tailgate Talk. So we have a lot going on the Mafia Sports Report. And by the way, Buffalo Fambase, to go switch on to them, as you guys know or may not know, Zach Moss' podcast is now going to be on Buffalo Fambase as well. And they are doing big things, and we are along. We're on the ride with them, and they're just getting better and better. So subscribe to Buffalo Fambase as well. So once again,
a lot of big things come in there. We do have a super chat and a question from Scott. Just answer me this, Batman. Trey, over or under week 3? I say under.
You think he's starting? You think he's coming in before week 3?
I think he's going to start week 1.
All right. So
it's my gut feeling. I have no insider to it. It's just my gut feeling that he'll be ready to go week 1.
Okay. So initially, I was saying week 8 because he'll come in after the bye week. But, and I hate to be the guy that, all the reports are saying, like, I don't believe in all that. Like, the reports mean nothing to me. I'm going to kind of agree with you, but I'm not going to say week 1. I'm going to say I think he comes in week 2 or week 3. And I think and we talked about this before, I think they put him in. Ease him back in. Exactly. You may even see him second week in, minimal play time. And then I think by week 4, he'll be, in there the whole game. You know what I mean? Without any, time missed or whatever. But yeah, exactly. Without any restrictions. So right now, yes, I'll go with that, but it's still tough. This is a major injury. And it just depends on the person's body. And we do have the best training, facility. We have the best trainers. That's why a lot of players don't get injured. That's why a lot of players come back quicker from injury. So yeah, Mikey might be right. And that's why I'm kind of leaning towards that now. I wasn't before, but we'll see. But it's still, I mean, you never know.
They won't put him out there to risk him. They won't. If he's out there week 1, it's because he's 100% and ready to go. Sean McDermott is super cautious about stuff like that.
He's picky.
He is. He's super cautious about that. He thinks about the player's long-term future, not just the first few games. He wants them, ready to go come playoff time, not week 1. So if he truly is ready by week 1, then if he's out there, then trust me, he's healthy enough to be out there. If he's not, then if they decide to wait, so be it. But ultimately, I just have this gut feeling that he's gonna be ready week 1.
Okay, so Scott coming in. When we play Cleveland, will we play against Watson? Okay, so we got time, by the way, because me and Micah kind of ended that quick on the top, and that's why I was going into. I wanted to talk a little bit more tonight. So, good question. So, I've been following this a lot, the Watson thing, because I'm very. I listen, and I know some people are like, oh, it's because you don't want to play against Watson, you want him suspended. No, it has not. Listen, I'd rather him play. I want to play against Watson. Sure, bring him. I want to play the best because I don't want no excuse. But I personally think he should be suspended for a season. I think he will. It's weird that it's taking so long. I will say that. It's just strange to me. There was
a report this morning. There's a report this morning saying that it's taking this long because they think that the NFL and Watson's camp's still trying to come to a settlement. The arbitrator, the judge who's doing it, is hoping that the NFL and him come to a settlement so she doesn't have to levy down a decision. Ultimately, that's not going to happen. She's going to have to levy a decision, and they're going to come up with one.
Yes.
Knowing that because here's the thing, he hasn't settled all the cases. He settled most of the cases, but not all the cases.
Four still open.
Yeah, there's still 4 still open. I think they could give him a 6-game suspension with the caveat of, depending on what the outcome of those other 4 are, he can get tacked on more. So it won't be a double jeopardy type of thing.
So Chewy coming in real quick, and that is correct. Houston did. They sued Houston, and they settled right away. They didn't even, which was a smart thing to do. Which was, to be honest with you, is what Deshaun Watson should have done from the beginning, just to get it behind them, and maybe this process would have been quicker. But here's my thinking of this, and the NFL's in a tough spot, Mikey.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. So let's say, hypothetically, 6 games, right? NFL's about money, right? And they're about getting, they got a lot of sponsors. And they're trying to get women, and they've been doing that. Women in football, women coaches, getting women to watch, selling women jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
If you do this, and they only spend them 6 games, there's going to be a lot of backlash from sponsors and from women in general. And that's a lot of money lost. So NFL is in a tough situation here. Now, they suspend him for a season. Then you're going to get the backlash of, well, he's not guilty by law, blah, blah, blah. So they're in a tough, sticky situation.
Because he hasn't even lost a court case yet. He beat the indictment, so there was no criminal charges brought against him. But he hasn't even been to court on the civil charges. So it's just all, so and they are in it's such a.
That's when that's why I kept telling you to settle, and why Houston settled is because they didn't want to do that. Because when you go into these kind of cases, you have to be on stand in a way, you're interviewed. It's kind of like if you think about O.J. Simpson case. O.J. Simpson never went on stand. However, when they did the civil case, that's when they got to interview him, and that's when you found out a lot, right? That's when a lot came out, and we were like, oh, this dude's 100% guilty, right? Like everything. We already kind of knew that, but watching that civil case, then a lot comes out, right? And I think Houston was like, you know what? We don't want to get there, right? Let's just pay. And I think Deshaun should have gotten to that point. And with the 4 remaining, if this goes to civil, and they interview him, it's gonna be.
They've already done some interviews with him, and he's taken some depositions. If he has to actually take the stand, that's different. But we can get into the details of it. Ultimately, the question was, do I think he's going to be there for Week 11? My gut says yes. Do I think he should be? No. I think they should give him a year and then let him finish out the rest of his 4 that are open and figure out a way to close them all and then come back. But even if he's back, is he the same guy he was when he left? It's been
right.
If he comes back in week 11, say he gets 6 or 10 games or whatever, that's almost 2 full years of not, that's 2 full years of not playing football. That takes a toll on people. For the abuse question.
Yeah. Well, and Mikey's right. Even if he's back, he's missed a whole season last year, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to miss almost, let's say half a season now, if it is that. Mm-hmm. And you have to gel with your teammates. Like, you have to have a connection. It's not as easy as just going into the field and being the man. Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, you have to, it takes a little time. So I don't know. I'm not afraid of why he's a good quarterback, but I don't know. I haven't seen him play in a long time. We don't know how good he's going to be again. But I personally, like I said before we get off this topic, I think he should be suspended for a year.
Yeah.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. There's way too many cases. And but whatever. At the end of the day, that's the NFL's decision. I just think there's been players suspended for long time for less offenses, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is a pretty big deal. And
Serious,
that's why I think
serious.
Yeah.
Offense.
And I think that's why they would lose a lot of female audience and maybe some sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
And the NFL, I think that's where they're having a tough time, Mikey. Because I think from what I heard, the NFL wants a year.
Yeah.
And from what I'm hearing on the other end is they're saying like 4 games, 3 games. So it's a divide there. So we'll see. We'll see.
Going back to Chewy's super chat for his question who was the worst, Rice, Adrian Peterson, or Watson? They're all horrible. All horrible.
Did I miss that?
Yeah, it's the one right above his super chat. They're all horrible. I don't think you can rank them. If I had to rank them personally, anything against a child is the worst.
The Adrian
child
Peterson
than women. The Ray Rice video was horrible to watch. Watson's is all just hearsay right now, so it's hard to put him up. But anything against a kid is like a taboo for me and women. So I mean, you can rank them how you want. I don't know. They're all freaking horrible. None of them.
I'll tell you what. There's somebody that's not even on this list that I think is number one. It's Mike Vick.
Yeah,
Michael Vick for the dogs. I'm a huge animal person.
Yeah,
and I thought he was welcome back, which he shouldn't have been. I thought that was the most horrendous thing ever. I mean, if you really dig back on that whole situation, there was hundreds of dogs that were like hung in trees, and it was just terrible, man. Like, and he knew.
We took a really dark turn in this episode.
Well, that's okay. But my point is, the worst abuser. But if you're going on this list, I'm going to say Ray Rice. And Mike is right about the kid thing, but I think Ray Rice, I mean, knocking out somebody, dragging her. I mean, that's why
it was on video too.
Yeah, and you'll never. That's why Ray Rice got blacklisted.
Yeah.
Ray Rice was welcomed back a year after. No team wanted to touch him.
Yeah, suspended for a year, and then he never played again.
And he was a good running back. It wasn't like he was like
he was an all-pro running back.
That's what I mean. It wasn't like he was just a second string okay guy floating around the league. This guy was the man in Baltimore, and he got blacklisted because you can't do it. No team will ever no fan base will ever accept that. They can't. That's why I was shocked when Mike Vick got accepted back in the NFL, because that was.
But Mike Vick's was a little bit different because he did his time, and he also did a lot of charity. For animal rights afterwards.
Some things you can't. Yeah, I know, but some things you can't.
Listen, I'm a dog lover too. I'm an animal lover too. I get it. People make mistakes and deserve multiple chances. The thing about Mike Vick is he actually paid his dues.
No, and I think he went to jail, right?
He did. He went to prison. So. He went to federal prison for it, and he came back. And when he got out, he had fat fines.
I mean, I'll give him. Yeah, I'll give him credit for turning his life around. I'll give him credit for that. It was still a terrible. It was this one.
It was. It's a horrendous thing.
Yeah. Now don't forget, there's also players like Ray Rice who killed somebody.
Yeah.
But that was self-defense, right? And he didn't even get suspended. He played. So,
I mean, like when you're talking about that,
there's been a lot that's happened in the NFL. Don't forget about our running back, OG.
Yeah. That was after. So, but anyways, we took a dark turn here. Ultimately, we appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful. Next week, we'll be doing 30 to 11. And then we'll have our final show, which will be the top 10 show. So we have 2 weeks left. Scott, we're getting there. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. We'll get into those top 10 guys, and we'll bring some friends with us. So 2 more episodes. And then we'll be into training camp by that time and getting ready to. So we'll be closer to the season, which is awesome.
Man, about time. All right, guys. Well, we are out of here. We appreciate you guys once again, everybody, for hopping on. And Mikey, time to end the show properly.
And look at him go! He could go all the way! Touchdown! Touchdown! Touchdown!
The Bills make me wanna shout. Kick your heels up and shout. Throw your hands up and shout. Throw your head back and shout. Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout. Yeah, 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 hey, 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 hey. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo.
Bills make me want to shout.
Go Bills, man. Peace out.
Go Bills.
See you next week.